Hey y'all, my name is Terry. I'm a 57-year-old grandmother from Louisiana, and I'm getting the Lap Band or a gastric band. I don't know if Lap Band is the brand they'll use, a week from tomorrow. And you'll have to excuse me, I just got out of the shower. We have a tropical storm on the way and we're not quite recovered from a hurricane yet. So I have zero pride left, so I may as well do this with wet hair, right? I wanted to talk about, yes, they still do the gastric band and why I made that decision, and then share with you in upcoming videos the experience in case anybody else is considering getting the gastric band. Right now I weigh 236 pounds and I'm 5'4". I have plantar fasciitis in both feet. I've had surgery on both feet this year and need another one on one of the feet for heel spurs. There's heel spurs in both feet. And that's been over a year with that pain. And during the last year, I've gained about 60 pounds, and because you can't just sit around all the time and it hurts to walk. I also have what they call comorbidities of high blood pressure, which I've had for a few years now, and sleep apnea. I have central and obstructive apnea, and it's my understanding that most people within 6 months of having a bariatric surgery no longer need blood pressure medication and no longer need the BiPAP or CPAP machine, and those are my hopes. And I take a medication for my thyroid. I have hypothyroidism for over 20 years now. And if I get this extra 100 pounds off of my feet, it's very likely they won't hurt so bad too, and then I can be more active. And I've got my fingers crossed for that. About 3 years ago is the first time that I felt like I've done everything. I did the HCG diet multiple times, and at 500 calories a day, I would lose for the first 3 weeks or so, maybe 15 pounds, and then nothing and nothing. And I've done low carb for years because that's what has kept me from being diabetic, because I was borderline and I didn't want to take medication. And I considered the gastric sleeve 3 years ago when I was 180 pounds at that time. And I didn't qualify for that procedure because my GERD was so bad, my reflux was so bad. And I believe that was a blessing in disguise. But after that is when the problems with my feet started, actually during a vacation to Hot Springs, Arkansas. And it never let up. So, not much pride here. There's things that you have difficulty with once you get to a certain size. My belly is definitely, I'm big all over, but my belly is definitely bigger than it needs to be. And it's hard to put socks on, to put on shoes that need to be tied, to shave my legs, to wipe myself whenever I go to the restroom is definitely more difficult than it should be. All of those things should not be hard. And I always thought, because I'm a pretty much of a go-getter type of person, I always thought I would go into my 60s and 70s being one of those whirlwind grandmas that could get everything done and play with the kids and take them everywhere and do all this stuff. And it's just not true. I'm out of breath whenever I walk from the bedroom to the bathroom. But anyway, there's of the surgeries that are available, since I've tried everything, I've been overweight for probably 25 years, but that was up to the 180 pound mark. I am now morbidly obese at 234 pounds, and that's humiliating to even say, but I'm just trying to be honest here, because I'm thinking that the people who are going to be watching this are going to be in my same situation, and they're going to respect the honesty, I hope. But anyway, you can have the gastric band, and the doctors don't hardly want to do that anymore. You can have the gastric sleeve, and that's where they cut off half of your stomach to where it's like a long banana shape going down into your intestines instead of the stomach shape. And the food, kind of falls down through there, and you can fit in smaller amounts of food at a time. And now whenever I think about it, it's sort of creepy to have half of your stomach removed, and that's gotta hurt. But anyway, it causes reflux in people who didn't have it already, so much less with people like me who already do have it bad. Whenever I went through that, I had that procedure to try to get it. I had 3 EGDs where they run the scope down through your mouth to look at your stomach and your esophagus. And no matter what medication, omeprazole and Sulfuricate, I think it is, the things that they had me taking, it never healed. So it never healed, and they would have me do one, have me take all the medication for 6 months, do one, have me take the medication, and it just never healed. So 3 years later is where we are now, and I've been thinking about the gastric band for about a year. And I thought, well, maybe it is outdated. Oh, then there's the bypass, and they have a duodenal switch, and they have another form. It's called RNY or something like that, is a new name for the bypass. And with that, they cut you the end of your esophagus. They cut you a little pouch of a stomach. Then they leave the rest of your stomach hanging there, and then they make the shape of a Y with your, from out of your stomach and into your intestines. So you're skipping part of that, and you're not able, that's where in your small intestine is where you absorb the nutrients and things from your food. So that's how that one works, and works so fast that your hair falls out and the weight falls off like that, is because you're not absorbing any nutrients anymore. And you're going to be skinny, but you're not going to be healthy. You can, if you're not absorbing the nutrients from your food, you're not going to absorb the nutrients from your vitamins. So that was an absolute no for me. And that's the one that my doctor was actually pushing on me. The last doctor 3 years ago wanted to give me the Obera, I think it is, which is a balloon that they put in your stomach for 6 months. And I read up on that, and you can lose about 35 pounds, and then they take it out and it's done. Well, I would still be probably morbidly obese at 30 pounds from now. My BMI right now is 40. Well, I hate to even say it. But anyway, so the sleeve, you lose a little bit of your nutrient absorption with the bypass or the RNY or however they pronounce it, and the duodenal switch and all those. The reason you're losing so much weight so fast, and if it's to save your life and you have nothing else, it may be for you, but it's not for me. I'm very ashamed to say right now, this part, I own a health food store. I'm a traditional naturopathic doctor, and I literally have done everything I know to stop whatever's going on with my body, which is not enough activity and too much food. Even the right food, you can eat too much of it. Example. So I started researching the lap band, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. And in my business, I've had a lot of customers who've had the band, who've had the sleeve, and who've had the bypass. And I've watched them all gain back weight. So I don't believe that when I hear the stories of, 95% of the people aren't happy with their band and they want to get it revised later on to a sleeve or to the bypass. So do people who get the bypass, and so do people who get the sleeve. I see in the groups that I'm members of now, people who've had the bypass, and now their little bitty pouch, they've stretched out by continuing to overeat, by not getting it right in here. And now they're wanting the band over their bypass. So with the bypass, it is reversible. You can pay to take it out, and sometimes your insurance will pay to take it out if you have an issue. It's not 100% the greatest thing in the world for everybody, but nor is the sleeve or the bypass. And my doctor really pushed the bypass on me, because he said that's the only way to really cure GERD and reflux. And I'm wanting to be healthy, not unhealthy. So I'm wanting to absorb all the nutrients that I can by eating healthy and, supplementing that with vitamins, not by trying to, get the nutrients by taking vitamins that I'm also not going to absorb. And in I'm in a couple of groups where there's the pro group, where everybody in there is thrilled, had their band, from 1 year to 15 years or more, losing weight and doing great. And I'm in another one where they attack the band like it's, you know, the worst thing that ever happened, and definitely talk about revisions. And a revision's not in my future. But there's ways that you can, and we'll talk about this in other videos, that you can get past the band and still not lose any weight and still not, you know, even gain weight by eating ice cream and soups and things that slip through the little hole. I was using the example with my daughter earlier about a funnel. You know, you have your little funnel here and the little bitty straw hole at the bottom. If you put in things that are going to slide through, then you're not going to feel full. And that's the benefit of the band, is feeling full with a small amount of food, maybe a half a cup, or, you know, quarter cup to a half a cup. And if you drink water with your food, that's going to, see my wings there? If you drink water that's going to wash it through the little bottom hole with your food, or if you're eating too much creamy soups that are just going to go through the bottom. We've had customers at our stores that would come and get 3 and 4 smoothies at a time. And when we sold soups, they would get 3 and 4 soups at a time and sit in their car and consume it all. And that's the problem that's up in here. And to get any of these surgeries, you have to have a psychological evaluation and things like that. But you really have to work on it. I believe I'm prepared. I believe that this is the one for me. I believe it's the right thing because it is reversible. I believe it's the right thing. Well, he also found with my last EGD, even though it looked better, like it had healed some from my reflux, that because it was eroded in my esophagus and in my stomach, to the naked eye, it looked clear, but the biopsy still showed inflammation. But anyway, there's still a small hernia there. So he's going to repair that at the same time as the applying the band. And, you know, I told him, you know, hey, before, you know, 'cause you got to remember the doctor works for you. You decide this. And I told him, I need to know before I go through this surgery with you that you are going to support me. You're the only person I have and the only person I know that knows more about the band than me, you know, in my real life. And I'm like, I don't want you coming back if I need help and you saying, oh, I told you so, girl. You shouldn't have done that. You should have got the bypass. And he's kind of laughed at me, and he's like, well, I will, I will probably tell you I told you so, but I'm definitely going to support you. Now, I want to back up and say, before I found this doctor, it's an hour and a half from where I live. I researched it, and he came under Lap Band, and he came up as offering the band, has a website all over for it. And then I get there and he's discouraging it. I'm like, well, you need to take your dang website down because you're advertising, hey, you want a band to come get it here? Well, of course they're going to want you to get a $50,000 surgery instead of a $15,000 surgery. I mean, you know, not all doctors have, you know, they got to make money too. And with the band, you have to go back. Like, I'll go get this surgery next week, and then I'll have to go back in a month and get saline injected into it. They put a little port in your abdomen higher up, and then they have a special needle they put in there, and they put a saline solution in there. So you got your stomach, and you got this band around it, and then it's got a tube that goes to it. And then, so the band, as it fills up, is going to be tighter and tighter and tighter on your stomach, to where it's, my guesstimate from everything I've researched, your hole is going to go from being about this size when you're first banded to really, 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 really like a straw size or smaller as you go on, if you need that much restriction. And you control how much restriction you get. I see a lot of people saying, oh, I can't even swallow water. I'm throwing up everything I eat. Well, the dang band is too tight. And they're trying to eat too much. And if you try to eat bread or a bunch of things that's going to stop up your hole, your outlet, then your stomach's going to get sore, and it's going to swell up, and it's going to constrict you more. And that's when those problems happen. And I'm hoping that it only happens to me once, and I'll learn my lesson and don't try to tempt it, because trying to tempt it defeats the purpose of getting it. I'm still going to eat healthy food every day, just like I always have been, but I'm just going to eat less of it and be more aware of what goes in and things like that. Right now, I'm in what's called the pre-op phase, and that I've already had my pre-op doctor's visit, and I have 2 weeks to be low carb, and that's supposed to shrink your liver. And depending on your doctor and how much you have to lose and everything like that, some people are on only protein drinks this whole time. Some people are on clear liquids for 2 whole weeks. What my doctor does is 2 weeks of low carb, and then Monday and Tuesday of next week, I'll be only on clear liquids. Kind of like, this is similar to a Gatorade or a Powerade, but it's organic and doesn't have sugars and only natural stuff in it. But anyway, you'll do that for 2 days, and, Lord help me, right now, they make you do a bowel prep, and most don't. I asked in the groups, and of all the people who replied to me, nobody had to do it, but my doctor requires it, so I'm going to do it, and I'm going to gripe about it and complain the whole time, I'm sure. But anyway, so Tuesday at 10 a.m., I'll still be on clear liquids, but I have to do the bowel prep to make sure that my entire system is flushed out. And then the following morning, drive to Alexandria, about an hour and a half from here, to have the surgery done. I'm estimating about 3 hours, because we're about an hour and a half for the band and probably an additional hour and a half for the hernia repair. And that's all I know for right now. I know why I made the decision. I know that people act like the band is too dangerous, or the band can't be successful, or the band is outdated. The band is cheaper, is what the band is. So it fell out of favor when the new pet child on the block, the sleeve, came up. But the sleeve is also going out of favor a little bit, and they're forcing people back to the new type of bypass, which is the RNY. Maybe I'll learn how to pronounce that. I don't know. But anyways, that's just wasn't an option for me. Just as much as the sleeve wasn't an option because of my GERD, the bypass isn't an option for me because I want to be healthy. I'm not wanting to be thin. I'm wanting to run and play with my grandkids, and I'm wanting to swim, and I'm wanting to go hiking, and I'm wanting my feet not to hurt, and I'm wanting to still eat healthy foods, but not so much of them. Whenever you have the bypass, there's something called, and sometimes even with the sleeve, something called dumping syndrome that happens if you eat something you shouldn't, and you don't know what's going to cause that until you've had it. But for most people, it's anything that has sugar in it, and ice cream and things like that. You take a bite, or even just 2 bites, and then you break out into a cold sweat. Then you feel nauseated. Then you're doubled over in pain, and you're shaking all over, and explosive diarrhea starts, and you think you're going to die. The whole world starts spinning. You get dizzy, vertigo. You can hardly get up and walk. It's a terrible, terrible situation. And I'm not into that at all. That's not a side effect that I'm into. So I'm hoping that the band is the right decision for me. And if it wasn't, I'm going to be honest and share that with y'all too. But right now, I feel like, I had braces on my teeth to help fill a gap, close in a gap that I had. I wear glasses because I had a failed eye surgery, and or failed LASIK and raindrop inlay. Ask about that if you want to know. But I see the band the same way, as a tool that's going to help me do what I already know how to do, and make it a little bit easier on me to eat a little bit less until I can get to where I can be a little bit more active and go from there. One more thing with the band is, you can have it in there, they want you to have it in there about 10 years, but I know people through groups and things like that who've had it 15 years or more. But you can go there and you can get in your sweet spot, and say something comes up and you want to go and or need to go and get some of the fluid out, and then you just have your band and you really don't have any or much restriction. There's some people who have adapted their eating to where they're successful from then on after that. And there's other people who let it go and gain all their weight back and think the band didn't work. And really, it wasn't your tool that didn't work. Like if I take my glasses off, I'm not seeing very much, but that's not because my glasses aren't working. That's because I took my glasses off and I'm not using my tool. Put this back on and I can see a lot better. The same thing with the band. So say you are younger and you stop and have a baby, get it out, have your baby, gain some weight. You go back to the doctor and start getting your feels again. Start your liquid diet again and get back into the swing of things and be able to reuse your tool again. So like I said, right now I'm on high protein. A couple of days from now or a few days from now, I go into clear liquids. We'll do that for 2 days and then I'll have the surgery. Tomorrow, I'm driving to Alexandria for a nuclear stress test because I have to have a cardiac release in order to have the surgery because I'll be under for so long. And I can't run on the treadmill because of my feet. So they're going to inject some kind of drug in me that raises my heart rate up and look at my heart before, during, and after and do a ultrasound of it as well. Hopefully that all goes well, and because I'm going to have to drive in the storm tomorrow to get there to see it. I'll be leaving my house at probably 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not a morning person, to get there, and fasting from no caffeine today and fasting from 7 o'clock tonight until after the procedure tomorrow. And no medication or anything. But anyway, I'm going to do that. I feel like I'm going to get the release. And then I will go back to the foot doctor, probably get my foot surgery scheduled. But right now is a good time. I mean, I'm trying to be honest here. My store was damaged, possibly a total loss from Hurricane Laura, which was almost a month ago now. But we still don't have cable in our area. A lot of people still don't have power, or telephones, or running water, or things like that. It's pretty tough around here right now. And it's already, this is 2020. It's already been a very rough year with COVID, having a small business and all that. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make something good out of this. This is my opportunity while I have to be closed and off work anyway to do something for me. And, you know, you see so many people that, you know, you think, oh, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm supposed to be, you know, ashamed of this because I'm taking the easy way out. This is the lazy way out. Girl or boy, this is not an easy way out. I have been through EGD after EGD. I'm going to get a device implanted in my body that's probably going to hurt. I'm going to be uncomfortable for a while, no food, just drinks for a while. After the procedure, clear liquids for a couple of days, then protein shakes for a few days, and then only like cream soups and cottage cheese for a few days. This is not for the lighthearted. This ain't jumping in there and cheating. And if you think so, on you. Because it's not. This was a very difficult decision. It's humiliating and embarrassing because of the way that society sees fat people and thinks that it's just their own lazy fault. And I'm here to tell you, I have done my best. I don't go on a diet and have a cheat day, and I'm not that type of person. I'm very dedicated to being the healthiest version of me that I can be, and I've done everything I know how to do, and I've not been successful. And I am admitting my defeat, and I am marching myself to a person who knows how to help me, which is this doctor, and getting myself a tool, just like my glasses, that are going to help me to have a better life. And I will be coming back with further videos in the future showing you what I eat, when I eat, and those kind of things. If you are having the procedure or getting ready to have the procedure or had the procedure, you know, I hope you'll share this journey with me, and we can make it through this together. I appreciate you, and I wish you luck, whatever procedure that you decide to have. Bye.